Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of I Do Affirm Affirmation Conversations. Today's affirmation is I am proud. We are here today with Mildred Elizabeth Lara Gonzalez. How are you, Mildred?
I'm doing great, enjoying the weather. Today, El Paso is a nice cool 78, so I like that.
Oh, wow. Oh, El Paso. Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally forgot that you were in El Paso. I actually have family that live in El Paso, which I will say that's where I would get my best tans growing up. I would get that penny colored copper tan. I've never gotten a tan like I used to when I was growing up in El Paso.
Oh yeah, you get a tan here. I mean, you just got to walk outside for 2.5 seconds and you're good.
You ain't gonna be able to breathe, but you sure gonna get a tan. So you are originally born in Puerto Cortes, Honduras, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how old were you when you left Honduras to come to the United States?
So I was 14 years old, and it was we left when we left Honduras. I was 14, came to the U.S. I first moved to Boston, and then I moved to Florida, and then I kind of ended up joining the army from there.
Okay, so how long has your military journey been thus far?
Oh, it's been great. I've been doing this for 25 years now, and it's been a lot of fun.
Wow, 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 wow. 25 years. Well, that's amazing. Well, from one service member to another who don't plan on doing not a day past 20, thank you for your service. Because that is
Thank you.
awesome. I will definitely say, in our core, which we are in the legal field, your name is one of the most well-known ones, especially in the cohort of sergeants major. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you your kudos and give you your flowers because it is the absolute truth. So you are doing the damn thing, and you have for the longest. So you go, girl. So you right now are the deputy director down there. I know they changed the name. So explain to me what your job is right now. Explain to those who are watching.
So currently, my job, I work in the NCOPDD, so that's the Non-Commissioned Officers Professional Development Directorate, and what we do is pretty much we help deliver when you're dealing with BLCs, when you're dealing with battle staff, you're dealing with MLC. Those are our areas and arenas. NICOCO has 7 of them that fall directly under NICOCO, and so we have direct line to them. All of the other 30, well, 30, there's 32 of them. So all of the other ones that fall under FORSCOM or fall under, one of the other organizations out there, we still provide some type of, command and control with them as well.
Awesome. So what she's talking about is just various military schools. Wow, that's quite a lot. That's awesome. And you also have your master's in public administration. So kudos to
I
you.
do.
All right. So you not only have the knowledge and the wisdom, but you also are an educated woman. So love that. I love to see it. And
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
you also work with nonprofits. So tell me more about that because I'm really impressed with that.
Yeah, so since as far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a part of giving. Then when I came to the States, my aunt was who I lived with. She was, they were pretty much carbon copy of each other when it came to that. They were always about giving. It's I feel like at this point it has become sort of like my love language in a way. I like to give and I like to do as much for people as possible. So for me, I've always felt that if we can do better, by teaching other folks things that maybe I was not privy to coming up. So that is, providing them an opportunity to assist them in understanding the financial responsibility side of the house, right? Most of us grew up with, you know, I grew up poor. So for me, kind of understanding the differences between a checkings and a savings account was
Mhm.
about it. When you're talking about investing or you're talking about understanding your retirement and what that looks like, that's not normally there. And so, I've always wanted to give back, like provide that, foundation, that platform for people to be able to ask any questions of me or of other folks that I know that can help them in any of those arenas. And even, things as simple as hey, what do you wear to an interview? Or,
Nice.
legal questions, like a lot of us are used to, the legal system is different for everybody. We know that being in the military, but also in the civilian sector, that's something that a lot of the times, has been taboo to converse or discuss with folks, and kind of getting them to understand there are other avenues. They don't have to do things the same way that generations of family members have done it for X, Y, and Z amount of time. Like, hey, here's another avenue. The easiest way to get out of a bad neighborhood is probably the military, right? Because you
That's
could come
true.
in and immediately you have what we say, three hots and a cot. Um,
Right.
you know,
That
so
means
you don't have to
three
worry.
meals and a place to lay your head.
Right. So you don't have to concern yourself with, hey, how am I going to do it? Where am I going to stay? How am I going to feed myself? That's something that the military kind of provides. So
Mhm.
kind of giving them those options, the opportunity to be able to say, hey, you can utilize these things as a stepping stone. They don't have to be permanent. You don't have to do 20 years. You don't even have to do four. You could do 4 years. You don't have to be active. You could be, one of our part-time sister, uh, you know, um, uh,
National Guard
organizations like the
Reserve,
National
right?
Guard and the Reserve, who do part-time. They only do the weekends, and you could still have a full-time job in other civilian positions. So just kind of being able to be there to be able to provide that kind of option and provide that foundation of information. And even if I don't know how to do it, having you guys, people like yourself, where I could say, hey, I got this individual who I'm not really sure how to help. Here goes the information. What do you think? Which is great. So that's a network that, of brothers and sisters that I now have built in over the past 25 years of my military career that I can reach out to. So that for me is where it's at.
Awesome. So would you like to tell us the name of the nonprofit in case anybody wants to look it up and see how they can help?
So I work across, like, it's not my nonprofit, but I work across helping or assisting in different ones. So there
Oh,
will
that's
there will be so many.
awesome.
Matter of fact, who just opened their nonprofit? She's gonna beat me up. Sarah Major Jenkins. She has
Angela?
the Lighthouse one that she just
Oh,
built that one from the bottom up. So
okay.
so
Well, we're gonna get her information and we're gonna put it in this video before I publish it. We're gonna get it and put
yes,
it
ma'am.
in there. I love her. She's always doing great things. Okay, that's
She's
awesome.
phenomenal.
Okay, well, that's awesome for you. I really appreciate that because it kind of it goes it aligns with what you do as a sergeant major in the military, as a leader in the military, having given 25 years, because you take care of soldiers. So you're taking care of underage children. Those are little people too. Right? So it's like, and you're also at home taking care of twin boys, your little people, with your wife. So that's what you do. You take care of people. You're leading and growing people to be better adults. So that's amazing. So how is it with two kids growing up with the same face at the same time?
So I would tell you, it has been a learning experience, just for us, right? For my wife and I, because we had two at the same time. And it was during the time that COVID was just kind of coming about.
Ooh,
They were 4 months old when COVID exploded. So being able to kind of care for little people and understand, like, I mean, every day is a new experience. They change every day. Some days they're very happy with each other, giving hugs and kisses, and other days they're, of course, doing a full blown WWE fight, because they're not getting along. But it is valuable to me, because it's like you kind of get to see, it's a mirror of yourself, right? Like,
yeah.
you realize, like, when you were little, how many shenanigans you probably got into as a child. And
Mhm.
you start to kind of look at your mom, uh, in a very different light than what you did prior to having kids. At least for me, it's been like my mom has 8 kids. It's 8 of us, and we have two, and I always wonder, like, man, I struggle with two,
Mhm. How she
and
did.
she, of course, right. And she brought us up in a completely different country. She brought us up in a completely different timeline.
Mhm.
Uh, you know,
Four
so
with 8 kids and y'all flourishing with two. It's
That's
amazing
right.
when you think about it.
Yeah, it's just, but it's a beautiful experience. You do learn how to be very humble.
Mhm.
With them, you learn how to be very patient. If you don't have patience, um, you probably need to find some very quickly, because yeah, they tend to do some stuff that you're like, if I could just do some things to you that are illegal, I would probably go to jail at times, but it's
Yes,
it's
they
the
test
reality
you
of
for
just
sure.
right, right. It's just the realities of growing up with them. But I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm glad that I waited, at least for me, I'm glad that I waited so long in life to do so, because I feel like I'm gonna get to enjoy a little bit more of their childhood
Mhm.
than I would have if I would have done it early on, having had, been to Korea 18 months once and 12 months once, been to Iraq twice, you know, all of that, kind
Yes.
of takes away. And it is a price to pay as a parent in the military. That time that you just won't get back, those birthdays that you won't get back,
Yes,
those
girl.
special memories of them going to school. So for me, it's been an awakening, and at the same time, I can only say that I've been blessed to have such an amazing partner that, you know, we balance each other very well to be able to kind of take care of both of them, because there are times when it's like daycare is like, hey, they're out for 10 days, and both of us are full-time, employed, and
Mm.
we've had to figure it out. Like, hey, who's staying
Wow.
home?
Mhm.
Who's going to work? Or are we calling reinforcements in,
Right.
grandmas who are more than willing to fly and come take care of them? But it's definitely been, a fantastic experience with lots and lots and lots of work.
Wow. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad y'all have one another and the relationship is flourishing for the boys and that y'all have y'all community because it's really at the end of the day all about that community to help support and grow those boys. And I completely understand because I was over in Korea when my daughter turned 1. So I left, excuse me, when she turned 1, I left for Korea and actually I came back when she was 2. 2 months later, I went to Kuwait, did 3 years of rotations back and forth. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, I've basically done, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 that I can just count without wasting too much of the time we have here. 5 week courses away, it's just a lot. So if I could do it all over again, I would have definitely waited, but it all works out now. She retires in 23. I mean, I retire in 23. She graduates high school in 23. So I'm gonna be free.
Perfect.
Well, so it works out perfectly. But it's good
Yeah.
that you actually get to be there and see your boys grow up because like I said, as cool as it is that I get to have an empty nest when I'm retired and kind of get to know myself, I really would have rather just been there, to see my daughters, first, I didn't potty train my child, just things like that.
Yeah.
So I missed a lot of that. So speaking of pride, your mother instilled pride in you. Talk about that a little
Yes.
bit.
Oh yeah. So Uh, you know, we didn't have a lot, like I said, growing up, but I will tell you one of the beauties that, my mom has been truly a strong, superhero to me in what she has been able to accomplish, right? So instilling pride in me, for me, has always been, hey, you don't have to, have the most, right? You don't have to be, the person that's the richest, and how you define that, is
Mm.
going to be absolutely up to you. But she told us always, like, hey, when you go to school, your job is to, work as hard as you can to get your grades, to get the best grades you can possibly get, right? And that is the window for an opportunity for you to be able to get further in life, right? And although she didn't get to go through all of the different, levels of schooling that I have been blessed to be able to go to, I wouldn't have done it if she didn't allow me to stand on her shoulders,
That's right.
to be able to do that. You know what I mean? So me finishing high school and finishing college and being able to do all of these things, that pride that she's always, be proud of who you are, right? Regardless of, the money you have in the bank is such a small, minute part in the grand scheme of things of, what you bring to the table. You bring all of these other things that are fantastic and amazing. And, I much rather have a good person, on my team than have a rich person on my team that's not good.
I know
I
that's
can, I can always, yeah, I can always make money, but I can't
exactly.
teach you to care. I can't teach you to be a good person.
Exactly.
That kind of comes from when you're growing up and whatever has been instilled in you over the years. And once that's cemented, I like to tell people the reason why I think I do so good in the military is because my military values, my army values, and then my family values align perfectly.
Exactly.
And because they do, it has afforded me such a great opportunity to just have a seamless transition into the army. And I've always been proud of who I am, where I come from. Having her as a mom is definitely one of the best and biggest things that God has given me coming into this earth. So if it wasn't for mom instilling in all of us, right, all 8 of the kids have the same thing. We all work hard. She's also taught us how to be outspoken.
Yes,
uh
you are.
which yeah, so but yeah, the pride in just pride in who you are and what you bring to the table has been something that she's always given us. And you know regardless of what that is, a lot of the times we look down upon people for the job that they hold, or the
Yes.
civilian education that they have or whatever. And I've been blessed to kind of meet, kind of have that person in my household who's a hustler. She's done
Right.
everything she needed to raise 8 of us, and done it without having to give up any of us. And I had an abundance of love growing up from my brothers, my sisters, my mom, my dad. I just had that. And you know if you ask me, would I prefer to have grown up in a 60 acres and big
Right.
old mansion? I probably would tell you no. You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
I would have missed so much of all of the things that I got to
Absolutely. You
experience
probably
with.
would have been lacking love because those people who are affording you those 60 acres would probably have been absent a lot trying to work to keep paying those bills
Right,
for the
right.
landscaping alone.
True story.
Well, I want to thank your mama for making you a phenomenal person. And I will tell your mama, if she didn't know, now you know that we love your daughter. She has an amazing personality. I have not ran across anyone in my nearly 19 years of service in the Army who did not have nothing but great things to say about Mildred Lara. And that is just the honest to God truth. They love your candidness, your outspokenness. You are blunt, but they love it. Like they love your honesty, and I do too. I mean, I love people like that because that's the type of person I am. And I will also tell your mama, I don't know if she's the one who taught you how to dance, but I love that too. And please make sure those
Yes.
boys know how to dance
We get it from her.
because you dance real good. I'm like, oh, when you get on the floor, I'm just gonna take my 1-2 step right back in the corner. Oh my God, yes. So, okay. So we're gonna shift a little bit and talk about a different kind of pride. Um, we're still in the month of June. This interview will obviously not air in the month of June, but I know that there is a lot of people who struggle, in the LGBTQIA plus community. So what advice would you give as someone who is confident in your skin? What advice will you give to someone who was struggling with their pride?
It's a process. None of us get here instantaneously. We all go through this process very differently. And having genuine people that love and care for you helps. At the end of the day, it helps you get to where you are comfortable in your own skin. At the end of the day, right? I wasn't always this comfortable in my own skin. I struggled early on, right? Because you don't want to um, embarrass your family. You don't want to lose friends. You don't want to lose loved ones. And unfortunately, growing up, it wasn't seen like it is today.
Mhm.
And even today, right, there's different struggles. But I would
And especially
definitely
not
say,
25 years ago in the military.
right, Right. So, coming in with the don't ask, don't tell umbrella was tough, right? Because then you want to be part of the group. You want to be part of the cool kids, as they say. And sometimes that meant that you couldn't share who you really were at home
Exactly.
with your family at work. And even though you might have cared and loved your family at work, you started to kind of separate and be two
Mhm.
totally different people. At work, I'm just this military person in my uniform, and we spoke nothing about anything about my house or home or my personal life. Um, and even when the don't ask, don't tell disappeared, it was still not something that I ever came across, and had a discussion with anybody about.
Mhm.
The funniest thing though, trusting that process at times, yeah, is it possible that we can get hurt? Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Um, Fortunately for me, man, I would tell you I met my wife in DC when I was stationed at the Pentagon, and once we got engaged, I knew I had to tell my boss, um, which, by the way, his reaction was amazing. Such a great human being. Both of them, both of my bosses. I had, a boss at one location in Fort Belvoir and had another boss at the Pentagon, and both of them were phenomenal. And then, I was moving again to go to Korea at that time, and I was like, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna tell my boss there because now I got to re-mention it, and right. And so it was at the beginning. It is a bit, you feel a bit apprehensive, right? On,
Mhm.
what's the reaction? This person that's going to be your boss, that you're going to work with and you're going to deal with daily, feels some type of way about you being, a lesbian married to a woman. If they see it in a negative light, that's 2 years or a year or 3 years or whatever the timeline is of having a battle buddy that hates you and you hate them, and you just put
Right.
on a
As their
facade
use their
coming to
biases
work.
against you. Right.
Right. So it does play a part into kind of just, for me, at the end of the day, it became, my wife is important to me. She's going to be a part of my life, and I don't want to hide her in the corner somewhere because it makes somebody else uncomfortable. So for me, I made a decision, regardless of how that was going to come about. It was important for me for her to be front and center stage. And the first time that she had to be front and center stage was when I did my change of responsibility as a command sergeant major. And people ask me, "Are you gonna give her flowers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And she
Mhm.
will sit in the spouse's chair just like
Exactly.
the other spouse.
Mhm.
And you know what, man, I've been blessed. I have not had um to deal with anyone to my face where they've been like, hey, I don't want you around, or I don't,
Mhm.
like, no one has done that. And I'm grateful. Maybe, some of that same energy that I grew up with, that my mom instilled very early on, like, you take care of people, right? You don't do it for what they can do for you. You just do it because they need you to, and
Mhm.
you have more than enough to be able to go around and give. And her bubbly personality, and just always being the kind-hearted person. I feel like that's, if we had more of that on planet Earth, we probably would have a little bit less of some of the issues that we do. But for me, that has translated, to just being loved by people and me loving them back. I've never had an issue. So I've loved every aspect of being able to be honest and being able to be comfortable in my own skin without feeling the need to have to, fake who I am or who I love because everybody else around me is uncomfortable. And she has always been more than welcome with open arms into any of the offices that I have ever worked for or worked with. So, I mean, it's a process though. I didn't start there. I happened to get there with lots and lots of help from many, many supporters. So, you know, definitely trust the process.
Awesome. Well, before I let you go, if you had a quote or a tagline, what would it be?
That's funny, right? Because one of the things I always say around the office, and I will tell you, there's a couple of people that have worked with me, they use it too now. And I laugh because people now tell me like, this is something that you say all the time. And I didn't pay attention to it. But my favorite thing to tell people, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart every time I say it, is I appreciate you.
Um, well, I definitely appreciate you. And thank you so much for being here, for hiding in your car from the twins. And I know your
They
wife
would
is
have been
in
a
the
part
house
of the
like,
conversation.
right. I know your wife is in the house like, okay, it's about time for you to come in and help me with these babies. So thank you so much. Have a really good night. And I love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love you too. Tell the baby, she's not a baby anymore, I know, but tell the baby we said hello, and the hubby we
I
said hi.
will. Bye. Good night. Look,
Bye.
we done had some beautiful skies tonight. It went we done saw the sunset and everything. It's amazing.
That's the beauty, but it's beautiful. The background is beautiful.
It has been very nice. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Mildred and her cute baby boys. I don't know what it is, this fascination that I have with twins, but I think it is absolutely phenomenally amazing to see two people or more with the exact same face. It's crazy. I do have twins in my family, and they are identical. And I just love it. It's crazy. If I could have twins, it would be wonderful. But I will say, if I could have twins, I would want one boy and one girl. So obviously they would not be identical, but that would be perfect for me. But anyways, let's get this final thought in. I just want to say to Mildred and to the LGBTQIA plus community at large that be you. And be proud. I understand all too well that it is not easy being your authentic self. I'm in the military. And no, I am not in that community, but I am an ally to that community. But being in the military, it is hard to be your authentic self because you have so many rules and regulations and so many things that, in my opinion, bound you to be something less than what you really are, or at least between the hours of 9 to 5 when you're in uniform. So I understand how hard it is to be authentic. And no matter who you are, it is a big deal when you find your authentic self and you can fully express who you are. It is an amazing and empowering feeling. And I have started to feel that feeling, and I can barely contain myself. I want you to know that the most important thing that you can do is surround yourself with people who support and who appreciate you and who accept you. And that's with any of us. Don't let worry eat away at you. Find someone to talk to, anyone, even if it has to be a professional. I do it every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I talk to a professional, and it is wonderful. It's a great feeling to just unload all my thoughts, even the happy ones, just to have someone to talk to about it who is non-judgmental, not at all, in any of my day-to-day activities. She just listens, gives me some professional advice, helps me to meditate through them, and I really appreciate that. It's always good to have someone to talk to. If you haven't come out yet, do it on your own time and in your own way. It is your journey. Be happy, be flawless, and be unapologetic. And if you are not part of the community and you want to be an ally, first of all, I highly encourage you to be an ally. Remember the golden rule. Don't make assumptions. Educate yourself about things that you do not know. Listen to their experiences. Show them that you care. Let them know who they are. Excuse me. Let them be who they are. And let them know who they are. That's true. Remind them that they are fierce. They are flawless. They are important. They are loved. They are special. all kinds of things. So you can let them know and let them be. Be kind, be inclusive, and allow them to be authentic around you. They're not part of a different species. They're human, just like you and I. Foster supportive environments. You will want support with whatever you're going through. It can't be easy to be different. And we're all experiencing that. Maybe because of the color of our skin, maybe because of our weight, maybe because of our height, maybe because of our accent, maybe because of the way we look. We're all different from someone else in some situation that we find ourselves. And we know how it feels to be different and to be ostracized and to be looked down upon. And we don't like it. So why would we want to treat anyone else that way because of who they are? It's not right. Love is love. And we should have love for everybody. And we should let them love who they want to love. It ain't hurting us. Is it hurting you? Let life be beautiful for all people. After all, for all we know, we only are promised one. Take care, everybody. And be kind, be compassionate, be fierce, be yourself.
Mildred, you want me to call you Laura Gonzalez or just Lara?
Whatever you want to do.
Oh.
Lara, Mildred, Gonzalez, they're all my names. Elizabeth.
Mildred Elizabeth Lara Gonzalez. We're definitely putting that to the at the end.